Yeah, we are good to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Because I keep getting muted.
I'm not sure why. You should be okay now. You can continue.
Let's try. I'll keep unmuting.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's muted again.
Yeah. Must be somebody that's muting her, because I'm not. Dr. T, you're muted now.
She's still muted, because
Yeah,
can
she
you
needs to.
can you unmute her from your
No.
end? You can't.
No.
Again.
Okay, you're unmuted now, Chair. But it keeps muting her. Dr. T, are you able to log off and then perhaps Ntokozo dials you in? Maybe it's still, as you said, Junior, struggling to join. Ntokozo, are you able to do that?
I can dial her in if she goes off.
Yeah, let me go off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Khonse, are you having problems with muting and unmuting?
No, I'm not having any problems.
So the issue is probably on her device then.
Okay, cool.
Okay, good morning. I hope I stay unmuted. It seems like this is now okay. Yes, all right.
Yes,
Thank
we
you,
can hear
everyone.
you.
Okay, apologies for the technical glitch. Before we start with the formalities, Ntokozo, do you want to give us just a logistics update in terms of how we will run this meeting?
Okay. Good morning, colleagues. We will start at we'll start now at 10 past. And just for everyone's information, all mics will be disabled for the duration of the presentations. If you would like to post a comment or a question, please pop it in the Q&A. And at the end of all presentations, we'll have a Q&A session where we will disable mics based on hands that are raised. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ntokozo. So, colleagues, we'll then start the meeting. Thank you all for joining. This is our last meeting for the year, and as usual, it is a jam-packed agenda. The approach that we've taken is as per usual, where we will give you an update on a number of our areas that cover our regulatory mandate. We are touching really the high level point, understanding that we've got working groups that are really supposed to be getting into the meat of these matters and dealing with the guidelines, etc., together with our operational team and senior managers. And so ours today is just to give you some high level updates on each of the areas. So in the interest of time, today we'll start with Vet, and Alice will be the one taking us through that area. And after that, we'll respond to some of the comments related to Vet that would have been posted on the chat. And we will then move to medical devices. So we'll run it as usual, wherein during the presentations, we take comments on the chat, and hopefully we have time at the end to have an open mic session. So I'd like to then hand over to Alice to take us through that. Thanks, Alice, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Since it's high level, I won't be long, and I've tried to combine a lot of issues in the interest of time. If I fail to go to slide mode, please bear with me. There is something I don't understand about this computer today. Okay. My down arrow is not working. Sure. Wait.
Your slides were moving, Alice, and then now they're blank. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I'm having challenges with putting this in slideshow. I'm trying to
Just
see
try
where.
one more time. If you battle to put it on slideshow, just make it bigger.
Oh, okay. Where else can I go? Can I go to no, not layout. Okay, let me try one more time. Once
Now
I'm in, yeah, once
we
I'm
can
in,
see us. There we go. There we go.
yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Sorry for the hitch. So I will just give you high level on our harmonization initiatives for veterinary medicines. Just a reminder that we are participating in this initiative in the SADC region, where Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia are the active members, and the rest of the SADC member states are observers and allowed to join since we initiated this program a few years ago. So just to say that we are trying to really work together to harmonize our technical requirements and make sure we have availability of safe, efficacious, good quality veterinary products. We have completed pilot phases 1 and 2. In phase 1, we got 8 applications. In phase 2, we got 4 applications, which we jointly assessed. Unfortunately, we had so many challenges. These applications, especially for phase 1, were substandard, and it appeared that applicants are unsure of the submission procedures and technical requirements. And we also had challenges with old medicines, and we still need to agree on the set of information that is acceptable to all NRAs to support efficacy of these old medicines. So our first joint assessment was held in Lusaka, Zambia from 24 to 28 February 2025, facilitated by UKVMD and coordinated by South Africa and Botswana. And all we could do in that meeting is do technical screening together because we realized there were differences in the approaches between NRAs, and we did full evaluation of Module 3 together. And unfortunately, the 4 products that we looked at were all withdrawn because the applicants felt the queries were exorbitant and they could not meet the timelines given as well. And during that meeting, we also skimmed through the recommendations that had been done for the 7 products from pilot phase 1, and we all agreed that these dossiers were substandard and must be rejected. So now we are shifting our focus again to training of assessors because we've realized that there's a gap in challenges in understanding bioequivalence and biowaivers, especially with regards to animal studies. We need to make sure we emphasize that and also look at bioinformatics and also issues around toxicology, that is your user safety, your food safety, and environmental safety. So we are planning to hold a physical training workshop early 2026 between NRAs so we are busy looking for trainers. One of the things that we are also going to work on is evaluations of immunologicals, that is your vaccines and biologicals. And during that session, we are also going to hold an industry endeavor to discuss the common queries and shortcomings in the dossiers that we received in pilot phases 1 and 2. And we are also going to look at the comments received from industry by then on the biologicals guideline that we have already compiled, which will be published to industry for comment on by 30 November. So our next joint assessment will focus on immunologicals, and we wish to have that in March 2026. In as far as VICH is concerned, which is the counterpart of your ICH for human medicines, we are still participating, and next week we are participating in the meeting physically. We are involved in the vet pharmacovigilance working group, expert working group. Hello? And also the VICH has decided to come up with a global reference dossier just for veterinary medicines as well. So we are looking into that, and South Africa is participating. We are also in the bioequivalence bioequivalence working group, and also another group which is looking at stability of medicated premises. So in as far as antimicrobials are concerned, I think I told you last time that we'd had internal discussions and taken the matter to the Minister of Health, who recommended that the DG of Agriculture and Health must meet, which was done already. And a task team was formed, but the terms of reference still have to be validated, and including the roadmap, and the next meeting is on 1 December. Meanwhile, also related to antimicrobial resistance, there's now a new forum on substandard and falsified veterinary products, and South Africa was invited, and both Act 35, Animal Disease Control, and SAHPRA Act 101 participated in that meeting. And since we learned from HOA that they had developed what we call a V-Safe platform, which aims to receive notifications of substandard and falsified veterinary medicines from all its member states and its network. And from there, they intend to inform and support member countries to facilitate identification of these products and eventual removal from circulation. So I'm glad that we are all participating now, and we've been given access to this platform. All of us, Act 101, Act 36, and Act 35. But in that meeting, there were discussions on how we can collaborate and maybe integrate this work with WHO as well. Since they were far ahead in this, we could have some learnings from how they are doing this and maybe work together just the way we work together with regards to AMR issues. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. There's dead silence, so I was wondering.
I think Dr. T is struggling to unmute again.
Good morning, colleagues. It's Tammy. Maybe I can just help in the interim while Dr. Tumi gets back online. Dr. Alice, have you concluded the presentation?
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. If there are any questions for Dr. Alice and Vet Medicines, please post them on the chat, and we will expedite the responses now. Dr. Tumi, if you're back online, just indicate and I'll hand over to you. But the next item on the agenda will be medical devices and IVDs. And Dr. Dimakatsu Matibe will just give us an update on the publication of the regs and the update on the medical devices roadmap. Over to you, Dr. Matibe.
Good morning, CRO. Good morning, colleagues, everyone on the call. Good morning. So CRO, I am going to give feedback because there isn't much change since the last RTF regarding both the regulation and the roadmap. So on the regulation,
We have indicated last time that we're still working on maybe let me indicate this. We were busy completing the phase 1 document for the SAHPRA that we need to submit to presidency. We're working with the various departments internally to submit. So currently we intend to submit that end of this month to presidency for review. We have, as the industry is fully aware, that we have done a public comment a number of times since 2022. So we will submit those documents and comments that we have received as part of the submission. So once we have submitted to presidency, then we were working with National Department of Health. Once we have submitted, we'll await from their side to guide us further. That's where the regulations are. And so I cannot assume or predict what the presidency will say, but at the moment, the intention is to submit there. Once it's submitted, then we will have to publish for implementation in the near future, but we will have to hear from the presidency. That's the first point. And then the second point is on the roadmap. As the colleagues are aware that we are busy with the feasibility study, the intention is that in the end of Q4, which is next year for us, which is between January, February, and March, we intend to publish a summary report on the outcome of the feasibility study. We are still busy with it, with the feasibility study, where we will inform everyone about the outcome, any wins and any challenges that we have, and then we'll communicate further on the way forward. But we are still busy with the applications that we have received, reviewing it and communicating with the applicant that they have volunteered to be part of the process. Thank you. Oh yes, and maybe just to add, we in our communication or in the summary report that we will publish on our website, we'll speak on, for example, the fees, because one of the reason that we did the feasibility study was also to include the fees, look at the hopefully the regulations will be finalized as well. And as per the requirements and the legal requirement, we'll further then publish the transitional process as to when we will start product registration. But that will be communicated, and the how part will also be communicated. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dimakatso. If we could just, colleagues, look at questions on the Q&A. If colleagues can just make sure that they attend to them. I see there's a few that I'm not sure, Alice, if you managed to speak to, because I think they came after maybe you've presented. Maybe if I can just check, Alice, the one is, does veterinary still use the SAHPRA service portal? I'm not talking about the FTP portal. So how does veterinary submit their applications?
Sorry, I am trying to understand which portal are they talking about?
So maybe rather address it in this way. How do we receive vet applications?
Okay, it's still through the FTP, and we are still using it. We have never moved away from it. And industry, there was communication that for everything from pre-registration and post-registration applications, we use that portal.
Okay, thank you, Alice. And then the next one is compounding and oversight of antimicrobials were on the agenda, but not addressed. Please advise on these topics.
Okay, can I write something on the chat quickly?
No, rather speak to it, because we must talk, okay, especially on the AMR. I thought I saw in your pack that you may have had slides. Maybe you didn't present them. The slides of what we're planning to do. I think in the last meeting you presented on it, but maybe touch on it again.
Yes, I presented on AMR. And yeah, the issue around movement of antimicrobials to Act 101, that one I discussed, but I didn't touch on autogenous vaccines. The status quo remains. We are still discussing the guideline internally. It's been shared with Inspectorate, we had comments, but we are still discussing with the new senior manager on how to handle them. And then before we publish for comment, because we must be sure of certain processes internally. And then with regards to compounding, yes, we've received quite a number of queries from industry. We are carrying out internal discussions on the way forward on this one. So we will come back to industry with our proposals, but we intend to come up with a document also as a communication to industry on this in future.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we need to at every meeting, Alice, cover compounding and AMR, please. Just so that those colleagues who are not at the previous meetings are also kept up to date.
Yeah, it's compounding, which I hadn't mentioned, but AMR is on the slides. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's keep compounding and AMR as standing items.
Thanks.
All right, and then there was another one that I think I may have missed. It says, where can I find the vet new product application form? I can only find the VMRF1 on the website.
We we are using the same one because we have gone CTD. So we are actually using the same one that we use for human medicines.
Okay. So it says, is there a specific reason why the agenda cannot be downloaded or printed? Could you please look into the document
I'll address that
properties?
one, Tati.
Okay, thank you, Ntokozo. All right, great. I'm not seeing, let me see if I've got questions for Dimakazo. Dimakazo, your hand is up. Continue while I see if I've got any questions for you.
Yes, thank you very much, CEO. I was looking, I think earlier you said we must check on the chat, and I see the chat is muted. So
Oh, sorry, it's
needed to check.
Q&A.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes,
The
thank
questions
you.
are under Q&A so that we can respond to them.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So I think there's one here. Let me see. Good morning. The newly gazetted fees from February 2025 publish specific fees for veterinary quality variations. However, the draft variation guideline, which we are currently commenting on, states that veterinary variation fees are still under discussion. How do we proceed in the interim? Alice?
I think something went wrong there because we are, they were published already. There is no further consideration for the fees.
Okay, so maybe just look at this comment and make sure that there's alignment, please, between the fees and the guideline that is out for comment. Okay, thank you for that question. All right, so we're going to proceed. Please continue to post your questions. The team are actively looking at the Q&A and will respond to you. In the absence of any comments for now, questions for medical devices will then move to complementary medicine. Kaiser, please.
Thanks, Chair, and good morning to everyone. Regarding the status of the regulations, as per Dr. Dimakazo's feedback, the CAMS regulations are still with the Department of Health, awaiting the outcome of the conduct of SAHPRA. She has already indicated that internally documents are being compiled on the SAHPRA conduct and will be shared with the presidency. That's the status of the regulations thus far. Regarding the responsible pharmacist versus responsible person, a communication to stakeholders was sent in August, where SAHPRA indicated that while it notes that the matter still lies with the Department of Health, and it is the prerogative of the minister to pronounce on it. In the main, we will be proceeding with the provision of Section 23(2)(a) in respect to the requirement for a responsible pharmacist. So that communication is already out, Chair. That's the status of the matter as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Let me see if I've got any questions for you, Kaiser. So Kaiser, one of the questions here is, what about the items that were previously allowed to be imported under SAHPRA licensing and now require BMA permits?
Maybe the question needs to be clarified.
Yeah.
Under SAHPRA licensing, and what is it required from BMA?
Yeah, I don't know. It just says now require BMA permits. Sam Desai, if you could just expand on your question, please, on these BMA permits that you make reference to. There's a question here. Someone, if I'm not sure if it will be for Pratibha or I'm not sure who. Look at the question, please. Pratibha and the team on the portal sales orders. And then, Kaiser, a question for you. How long after receiving our resolution letter will the 3D product list appear on the CAMS portal?
In fact, I was typing a response already there.
Hmm?
Unless I was typing a response to that, Chair, unless if you want me to respond.
You can
now.
speak to it, please, so that everyone can hear.
Okay, we indicated that we were a little bit behind in terms of the processing of license applications. Therefore, we will be processing and finalizing all applications that were in the finalization stage by sending out resolutions as well as licenses. As soon as that is done, we will then immediately process the publication of the 3D product list. I'm expecting that by when SAHPRA goes on recess about the 24th of December, this 3D product list would be recommended for publication on the list on the portal. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. All right. Let me see. There seems to be one more. So the last one for you, then we'll move to Pratibha. Is who must we contact at CAMS, as the CAMS portal query system is not responding to any feedback requests?
The last few days we have been having some challenges which the system administrators have been working on, but applicants can contact me directly so that I can also raise it up with where there are challenges.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we shall move to Pratibha. We're doing well on time. Pratibha, over to you, please.
Thanks. Morning, everyone. Thanks, Chair. I'll be taking you through the new registrations as well as variations updates and some feedback from the Reliance internal workshop that was held recently at SAHPRA. Right, slides that industry is very familiar with. This is the estimated approval timeline with data pulled as at the end of September 2025. For the new chemical entities, masters, the last full group that we had received applications in were in group 25, and that was from July 2025 to September 2025, where we received a total of 6 masters. The earliest group still that we are working on for new chemical entities is group 11. As you know, group 11, 12, 13, and 15 were part of the backlog project, and I will give you some feedback on that a bit later on. So the estimated approval timelines for new chemical entities is 360 working days. This is evaluation timeline only. It excludes the stop clock time, which is the time spent with the applicant, as well as the technical screening time, where we are currently measuring that up to 90 working days. On to the next slide. This is generics with clinical data. So we are separating generics with clinical data from those without the clinical data. These are the applications that come in with the full module 5. The last group that we received, full group that we received applications in for generics with clinical data was group 24, which was received between April 2025 and June 2025. The earliest group that we're working on with regards to generics with clinical data is group 11. We're almost complete there. It's 88% finalized. And generics with clinical data track a 360 working days evaluation timeline. We move on to the biologicals. The last group that we have received applications in is group 25. That's between July 2025 and September 2025, where we received a total of 9 masters. And the earliest group that we're working on for the biologicals is in group 12. Biologicals track a 360 working days evaluation timeline as well. And then for the biosimilars, the last group that we've received applications in, group 25, where we received a total of 2 masters. The earliest group that we are presenting here is group 2, but I can confirm that this group has since closed. And the next time that we present this slide, it will be updated and group 2 will be removed. With regards to generics, this is the last group received is group 25, and we received 92 masters there. The earliest group that we're working on for generics is a group 9, and generics track a 250 working days evaluation timeline. So as mentioned, I just want to give you some updates on the backlog. Backlog as defined as the groups 15 and below project that we were working on. This was a project that we started in September 2024, where we had identified 521 masters that had delayed approvals, and this became a focus of 80% of our resources in terms of time and people. We broke this up into manageable groups, the first being the 1 to 4 units pending, which was 466 masters, and then 55 masters with longer delays expected. So the update that I can share with you, as at the end of October, we have now officially closed this project at 81% finalization. We have 85 masters pending, with 1 to 4 units pending, and 13 masters still pending, where longer delays are expected. So as mentioned, this is 81% completion on the project. The reason why we are still sitting with 98 masters still to go, these fall into the groups of more than 1 unit pending. Hence, we do require coordination of a variety of units to complete those applications. And these are applications where there are longer delays expected, for example, a site inspection. Now, these 98 applications are going to be absorbed into the next phase of our backlog, where we are working on group 16, 17, as well as these 98 applications, or 19% of the groups 15 and below. We have an estimated completion rate or estimated completion date of end of March 2026 for the second part of this backlog project. With regards to post-registration updates, just in terms of guidelines and communication updates, a consolidated variation guideline was published to industry for comment. Comments close on the 1st of December 2025. The planned implementation or the planned finalization of publication of this guideline is the 1st of March 2026, with an implementation date of the 1st of April 2026. Reminder that a good review practice guide was published on the website, and a refresher workshop will be scheduled for this in 2026. Other issues to note, as applicants are aware, grouped variation requests, the motivations must now be made via the portal, and Z-code requests are still to be done via email for now. With regards to specific PEM post-registration notable changes for industry to be aware of, there are new codes that have been indicated to integrate from the previous communications to industry. There will be a retention of the old coding system. However, there's now specified specific SAHPRA docs and conditions that are now associated with the codes. The alignment with the new IMA coding is still to be completed. The unit is asking for comments from industry in this regard. The guideline has now aligned with ICHQ 12. To confirm, 2 query rounds only, and this is to comply with the fee regulations, and that is fee payment on the second round only. And additional codes will be reviewed by the quality unit. This will be the additional secondary packer, the change in the QC testing site. And the timelines now to align with the other units. For type 1B, 87 working days, and type 2, 220 working days. Updates specifically from the naming and scheduling unit for proprietary name change type 1B. Industry to note that only 3 proposed proprietary names are to be submitted for evaluation per application. Where more than 3 names are submitted, only the first 3 will be evaluated for that submission. The timeline for a type 1B proprietary name change is 100 working days. Again, the comment regarding the maximum of 2 response rounds, and this is to align with the Fees Gazette. Anything over will then result in the application being tabled for rejection. The next update from naming and scheduling is with regards to the rescheduling applications for type 2. To note that variation applications must progress via the SAHPRA engagement portal. When rescheduling and moving to a lower schedule, a unique proprietary name and a separate dossier is required. For rescheduling of an existing dossier or existing registered product to a lower schedule, which is part of an existing dossier, then delinking from the master dossier will be required. And for rescheduling type 2, the timeline will be 250 working days. This is for naming and scheduling. Note that all rescheduling type 2 applications require regulatory approval from SAHPRA and are only implementable after the Government Gazette has been published with the updated schedules. Right, just an important note to industry with regards to the type 2 pilot window. The current communication indicates that the second window will run from the 2nd of January 2026 to the 15th of January 2026. We have heard industry's comments in this regard, and we are changing that submission window to the 12th of January 2026 to the 23rd of January 2026. And this will be to accommodate for shutdowns due to the festive season holidays. Right, on to the next final slides. This is with regards to a Reliance workshop that was held recently at SAHPRA. It was an internal workshop only. The aim of the workshop was just to perform a Reliance assessment. It was pre-registration only, and it was a deep dive that was done into each of the units with regards to the challenges that they were experiencing with regards to Reliance and any proposed solutions that we could gauge from there. So just to update industry with regards to Reliance, Reliance timelines are 200 working days, and Reliance is defined as either abridged and or verified between the PEM and the CEM units. The pathway there is Reliance if the required documentation is submitted, and the timeline for finalization is 200 working days for evaluation. Note it's evaluation timeline only. It excludes technical screening as well as the time spent with the applicant. Collaborative review pathways also fall under the umbrella of Reliance. The collaborative review pathways that SAHPRA currently works on are the WHO PQ, WHO SRA, AMA, MAGHP, Zazibona, and EUM for all. With regards to collaborative review pathway, it is the applicant's responsibility to align with the requirements of those collaborative review pathways. So that would require significant reading by the applicant to understand the requirements and submission of those documentation thereof. Again, collaborative review pathways excludes technical screening timeline as well as the time spent with the applicant. Note that Reliance is confirmed only at the end of SAHPRA's technical screening. SAHPRA has recently revised the technical screening checklist to include documentation that was required for Reliance. This was published on the SAHPRA website for use by the applicants from the 1st of October 2025. So as part of the workshop, we did a deep dive into the data that we have with regards to reliance, and we didn't find that many confirmed reliance applications at screening. And just to share the data, the earliest that we actually have in the system currently is a group 11, and that was one master received, and that's still in process. And the latest that we received was a group 24, again, just one confirmed reliance application, and that is still in process. So this is 200 working days evaluation timeline. Then just to speak briefly on the collaborative review pathway, we do see that this is a more popular pathway that applicants are using. The earliest application that we have in the system is group 18. In fact, we received 7 masters there and just 1 remaining in process. And the last that we received was in group 25, where we received a total of 3 masters and 3 are still in process. So I'm going to hand over to the CRO to take you through the next steps with regards to the Reliance workshop that we've had and what is upcoming thereafter. So over to you, CRO.
Thanks, Pratibha, and good morning again, everyone. So the Reliance guideline will undergo an update to include these collaborative review pathways. There's quite a few that have been developed and in the last few months, so we will update it. We've also realized that the technical screening checklist will be updated to include the additional items for generics that have the clinical data. And there were specific requests from our inspectorate unit as part of our internal Reliance workshop. Having the technical screening checklist updated will just facilitate ease of data and communication between the applicant and the various unit. Then we plan to host a webinar sometime in December. The date will be communicated via the ITG. The point of this workshop is we would like to share examples and areas where Reliance is not being used successfully or the reasons why a Reliance application is actually being rejected. We want to share some of this with industry. We want to use Reliance. Obviously, it is in the interest of SAHPRA and the applicant that we use Reliance effectively for dossiers coming in. So in this workshop, we will share some of these examples. We will go through a little bit of training with the industry colleagues. It will be open to everyone because it is a webinar. We would like applicants, as many as possible, to get involved. Secondly, we would like comment from the ITG. We will send a formal request for information via Pratibha to the ITG. If we can have certain themes along which certain themes on Reliance that are not working for the applicant, where there are questions that we as SAHPRA need to address, where we could troubleshoot certain aspects or bring clarity, we would like those questions maybe submitted to Pratibha's office by the 24th of November, so we could internally assess them. So in our webinar, we could provide that level of feedback and then have an open discussion at the end of the webinar. As you know, this is critical for us to use Reliance effectively, and we're taking these next steps to ensure between industry and SAHPRA there is an ease of communication and understanding and effective application of Reliance. I think that's my last slide. That's all there is for me. Pratibha, am I correct?
Yes, you are. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Over to you.
Thanks. No, I'm also done. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you both. We've got quite a number of questions here. Just going to go to them. I'll just check those which are responded to. It's quite a lot, so I must just scroll down. So it's a lot, so I must. I think where to start. Okay. I'm going to take 3 at a time for you, Pratibha and Tammy. Please advise on whether there are any unknown backlogs on issuing fee sale certificates.
Kaiser responded to that, so that's fine. And then there was another question on CAMS license renewals that Kaiser responded to, so that's okay. Then we have a question for Inspectorate. I hope Lebo and somewhere here. It says we have been struggling to upload Inspectorate applications onto the SAHPRA DVP. Could you please confirm if the DVP is no longer the correct platform for Inspectorate submissions? So maybe Pratibha, you can also tackle that. Then the next one is for medical device. When submitting changes to the product listing that do not affect the product class for which the license holder is approved, could you please confirm whether the typical approval time is 2 to 4 weeks, or if it's a different time frame? Dimakatso, if you can respond to this, please, on the chat. And then second one for you, Pratibha, is SAHPRA able to provide the tracking status for applications submitted via the Reliance platform, perhaps to provide details in the groups as already provided? And then there was one on which Silvarani responded to. It says, if we are registering a biosimilar through Reliance, are we required to submit samples to SAHPRA? Silvarani responded to that. If today we have been waiting for more than 2 months for our Z-code application, how can we please speed this up? I think that was responded to. So far there's 2 for you, Pratibha. Let me pause here so I don't confuse you.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, Dr. T. So with regards to the first question, with regards to uploading onto the DVP, DVP was decommissioned many months ago. We have since moved on to the SAHPRA engagement portal. This is your portal that must be used for communication with SAHPRA with regards to all applications that are coming through, be it new meds as well as variations. So the DVP does not work anymore. Please do not attempt to log your application on that. Then with regards to the tracking status for the Reliance application, so this was just an update that I've shared with you based on the internal workshop that we've had. We will look at how we will be presenting this data going forward after the Reliance discussion that we will then have with the industry, but also to note that the SAHPRA engagement portal will become a dashboard for industry as well. This is still in development, and all applicants will then be able to track their applications in real time on the dashboard on the portal. However, that is still in development. Thanks, Dr. T.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, I was going to comment on Geeta's, I was going to raise Geeta's question, but I see Sandy responded. All right, so Pratibha, it says, is the timeline of 200 working days now applicable for both type 2 variations as well as combined type 2 variations? First question. Second question is the current experience timeline from a product going into registration certificate to receipt of the certificate itself is 5 weeks. Please advise if there are activities ongoing to reduce the time, and if so, by when is this expected and what is the target time? I'm going to give you the last one for now. It says, I got an NNS approval last year, November. I have a pending approval from Inspectorate. How long can I wait for Inspectorate approval? Yeah, so this is a significant delay from Inspectorate. So if we can respond to that, please. So those 3 questions for now.
Okay, I'll take what I can on this. Firstly, the 200 working days for type 2. So this is the timeline that was discussed internally as the most viable timeline for all type 2s. This will be including the combined applications with the type 2s. So it's 200 working days evaluation, and there's 20 working days on the outside of that for technical screening. All right, so that's the first one. With regards to the registration certificates taking up to 5 weeks, now we have been inundated in HPA with regards to the registration certificates. We're currently experiencing a few challenges with the portal, and this comes from the point where we at HPA go in, we set approval on the portal, and applicants are indicating that they're not receiving the notification. So in that regard, I would, when the applicant reaches out to the HPA unit, we are then raising the query with the portal support. Because it is definitely a development issue, the notification must be sent immediately to the applicant. Definitely 5 weeks is very long for issuance of a registration certificate. As soon as the portal glitches are sorted, this should then reduce the time to probably around 3 weeks and not more than that. Then with regards to naming and scheduling approval and already received in November and Inspectorate still pending, can I just receive a bit more information on that? If you could please just email me with regards to the application number specifically and the sequence, and I'll follow it up directly with the unit just to see what the delays are, and then expect some feedback thereafter. Thank you, Dr. T.
Thank you. We're going to take 3 more, and then we're going to move then to the presentation. Again, I'd like to encourage the colleagues to respond to the Q&A for those that we won't be able to speak to. There's a question that says, is there a specific reason why the authority keeps extending timelines? Maybe just let me read it all, then I'll ask a question. Is there something that can be done to ensure that we try shorten the approval or review timelines? The long timelines will eventually affect access. So maybe just be specific in terms of which timelines we are referring to. The question is from MT. I don't know who that is. And then the next one is, could SAHPRA please assist with guidance on how the process works between the Pharmacy Council certificate and the SAHPRA licensing for new facility applications for orthodox and CAMS facilities? So maybe Kaiser, and I'm not sure who else will tackle that.
Thanks, Chair. Regarding the CAMS, if you go to, I think it's the second last page of the roadmap, it provides for the workflow between SAHPRA, Pharmacy Council, and the Department of Health. Now, for an application to be lodged with SAHPRA, an applicant needs to have initiated an application with Pharmacy Council. Remember, that application you initiate with Pharmacy Council, or a copy is automatically sent to the Department of Health. And then you will receive a notification that you have initiated an application with Pharmacy Council. That is what we require for you to come and start the SAHPRA process. That acknowledgement that you have initiated the process with Pharmacy Council, you come to the SAHPRA site, you now apply. Now, once the SAHPRA license has been finalized, you will now be the Pharmacy Council will now start its process of coming to inspect you and certifying you, and so will the Department of Health. So that workflow is in our roadmap 7.02. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Kaiser. We're going to take the last question for now. So question is, can SAHPRA publish a summary of the timelines on one document for full transparency and ease of reference? And Pratibha, unless if you want me to talk to that, because we've got the timelines that we communicate in our APP for new chemical entities, generics, and this year we also have variations. I don't know if you want to add more, Pratibha, and maybe Tammy also. I don't know if you've got a comment.
You're correct, Dr. T. We do have timelines published, but it's in the variations guideline and then in the APP. So it's 2 different documents.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, we'll pause for now. My team will respond to your questions. I see some already responded to. We will then move to Samu and Lebo to take us through Inspectorate, please.
Good morning, everyone. I think industry had an issue relating to the API for the GMP, where the QP must write the declaration for the approval for new product registration. So I think when we look at this area is that SAHPRA is currently joining the ICH, and for ICH 27, we need to perform inspections. So that will not be acceptable for us to take the declaration like that. Thank you, Chair.
Etera.
Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. I don't know if Lebo has anything to add.
Chair, I don't think Lebo is here. She's
Is
on
it?
international travel, but
Oh,
I
yes,
can
she's still at
add.
Cape. Mhm,
I
mhm.
can
Go
maybe
ahead, please.
just add that we acknowledge that there is significant delays in the inspectorate. I have seen the queries coming from applicants, and I'm aware of new product as well as variations. We have employed additional resources, 6 to be specific, to assist on the variations backlog. And we will be employing additional resources for the inspectorate on a fixed term contract as well to assist with the inspections to address the current challenges in the inspectorate unit. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tammy. All right, let me just see if I've got any inspectorate specific ones that we can. So there's a question here that says, will the agenda be shared for the inspectorate audits? We have requested and have not received such. Samu, can you talk to this, please?
Thank you, Chair. For each and every inspector, before they come, when they do the plan, the agenda should have been shared in front before the inspection. I think maybe if you can provide a specific so that I can check which inspector has not done that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think for now, that is the only question. Let me see. So it says, we have noted a backlog in the processing of new applications for GMP unit. Kindly advise on the measures, and Tammy spoke to that, so that's fine. Okay, the rest are being addressed to by the team. All right, thanks. Let me see, there's a new one. All right, so we'll then proceed to inspectorate to regulatory compliance. If Daphne can give us an update, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. So, with regards to the National Action Plan, we have on the 30th of September, we have launched the WHO South Africa pilot, where we used their handbook to develop the South African National Action Plan, and the launch was very successful, where we had attendance from the minister launched the National Action Plan, and attendance was from local, all the stakeholders that have been part of the NEP. And then we have our SADC also supporting us in person, others who have come through. Then others attended online. We also had our Afro substance and falsified medical products focal points attending online, and some of the international stakeholders as well, like the Pharmaceutical Crime International. And the WHO also was in attendance for the physical meeting. The launch was very successful, and following that, we also have been focusing on radio and TV campaigns, building on that to emphasize that we will be fighting the substance and falsified medical products as a collective using the National Action Plan forum platform. So currently we are working on the post-launch activities, but the National Action Plan is a 5-year plan, and the main actions will start effective beginning of next year. As we indicated, we've got 4 working groups: the supply chain working group, education and awareness, the enforcement, and also the 4th one being the health infrastructure. And fortunately, also various stakeholders from these different groups have been engaging also on some proposed activities. We have got prioritized activities that we have identified, and we will be properly implementing next year. At the moment, next week, between the 11th and the 14th of November, WHO has got a member state mechanism 14th meeting, and this is the member state mechanism on fighting substandard and falsified medical products, and we will be reporting on the success of the pilot on that forum, so in plenary. And the WHO's feedback is that they are happy with this pilot. So, and this pilot falls under the working group D of the member state mechanism, and we will also be sharing our learnings and also our plan to not only the working group but to the plenary of the member state mechanism. And this, subsequent to that, the intention is that it will be then now rolled out to all. That handbook will now be officially launched by WHO to say that all member states would implement it. So it has been a successful year-long project so far, but the big task on South Africa is now the actual implementation of the plan, with all the stakeholders now enforcing that. Thank you, Chair. Chair, could you hear me?
Yes, we could, definitely.
I'm not sure if the chair is struggling again. Happy to assist in the interim. Thank you, Ms. Wafudi, for the update. Chair, when you're back online, indicate and I'll hand over to you. I think there's quite a few questions in the chat that needs to be addressed. Can we just go through some of those questions, please? Some I noticed there's a few for Inspectorate. Let me see where I can take off some questions. We start at the top. We are receiving emails for new application responses being overdue when either responses have been submitted or extensions requested. Pratibha, I'm not sure if that's clear enough and you're able to comment on that question.
Yes.
Go ahead, thank you.
Yes, thank you. So there seems to be a disconnect because we are also not picking up an HPA when the responses are coming through. So the coordinators, just as part of their process, will send a follow-up email to the applicants. If you have submitted, kindly respond that you have submitted and share that proof of submission so that we can update it on our side. So, I mean, we are also experiencing the challenges with the new systems, as are the applicants. So just if we could keep that communication open on both sides, that will be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the next question Second round, I think this is clinical. Do we have clinical on the line? Second round of clinical queries were received unrelated to the first round of queries. Since industry have to pay a fee for the second round, what is SAHPRA's strategy to ensure all queries are raised during the first round? I'm not sure if this is for a pre-reg or a post-reg query. Is Mashlodi here to comment? I don't see Mashlodi. Luleka, are you on the line? I'm not sure. Please go ahead, and if the individual can just be clear if this is pre-reg or post-reg clinical, and then we'll get the right unit manager to comment. Pratibha, another question. We've noticed that payment approvals on the portal are taking longer than the previously communicated 48-hour turnaround. Can you please confirm if there have been any changes to the approval timelines?
Okay, I'm not aware that it's taking any longer. When the payments are coming through, the team are acting on it almost within 24 hours. So if you're experiencing anything longer than 48 hours, please escalate that to me. And I'll just have a look just to see what's happening in terms of the processes, but I'm not receiving any complaints in that regard.
Okay, thanks. So the individual can just escalate to you. Pratibha, there's quite a few queries on the extension of timelines on variations, and I know you've addressed this in the BAU working group. I'll just read one of the questions, and then you could just respond, please. Type 1B submissions originally stated for 67 days are now 174 working days, and PM, I'm paraphrasing, 67 to 87 working days. However, applying the same 87 working day timeline to Inspectorate is not acceptable. We kindly request you review the proposal and adjust by shortening the overall timelines. Go ahead, Pratibha.
Sure. All right. So why did we change our timelines? We had to look at SAHPRA's operational efficiency, so our resources with regards to the quantity of the work and how we are handling the outputs as well. So we wanted to manage it internally, and this is what we came up with the best timeline to support industry and also to inform industry of that timeline, to support then with decision making from an industry perspective so that you can plan better as well. And this is what we're actually working on quite diligently to meet those timelines. So when we had put together the pool of all applications that we had in terms of variations, we noted no backlog for type 2, but for type 1A and 1B, there was a backlog. And this necessitated then reviewing the timelines and coming up with the average timeline. So that was the 20 working day. From the 67 working days, we added another 20 working days, which was just a month, to come up to that 87 working days, and then to maintain that transparency with industry. So for now, it is 87 working days. We will be unable to reduce that timeline until we establish some sort of stability also with regards to the processes and the tools. It will stay at 87 working days. Thank you.
Thank you, Pratibha. And Tokozo, can you just indicate for me if we've got someone from clinical? Sorry, I can't see the names of the attendees because I have some.
Luleka here, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Luleka's here.
Luleka, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Responded on the chat.
Okay, you have. Okay, thank you. There's another one here. For post-reg clinical, we are not receiving outcome or approval on submissions. We are required to submit approval of the clinical and renewal submissions. However, we are not receiving feedback. This applies to various products over various timelines, 1A and 1B. Can you kindly advise on this? Go ahead, Luleka.
I think it's product specific, so they must indicate which products that they need not receiving.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, we are signing letters every week, so I'm not quite sure.
You're very soft, Luleka. We're struggling to hear you.
My mic has an issue. I'll respond on the chat.
Okay, thank you. I did hear you say that the applicant can then contact you directly. Samu, what is the approximate lead time for a GWP inspection since the submission of the application for a new wholesaling pharmacy?
Thank you, Chair. It should take approximately about 4 months, but it's going to depend on when it was submitted. Because if it was submitted in maybe in Q1, the inspection will only take place in Q2. So then from the Q2, then that's when we'll be able to see about 4 months to do that.
All right, thank you very much, Samu. There's another question. Kindly confirm whether a change in the API testing site requires a prior approval from SAHPRA. I would refer this applicant to the guidelines. This question is not very clear. Look at your classifications. I'm not sure what classification this particular variation is. Let's see what's next on the agenda, please. Okay, we have legislation and guidelines update. The amendments to the regs for the additional ports of entry, Reg 42, and appeals guideline by Mr. Bongani Ngobo. Please go ahead, Bongani. We'll continue answering the questions on the Q&A.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just an update on the regulations. Amendment to regulation for additional ports of entry was submitted to the Department of Health, and it's been published for comments. And at this stage, we're waiting for the department to send us the comments received so that we can consider them. The closing date for comments, I think it was at the end of October, which was last week. With regard to Regulation 42, we are busy with the CS process after being advised by the department that we also have to do a phase 1 CS process for Regulation 42. As the colleagues have already indicated earlier, that we are planning to submit the CS process to the presidency before the end of this month. So it is the same status with regard to that as well. Section 24, capital letter A appeal guidelines. They are available. They've been published on SAHPRA's website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ngobo. Chair, are you back? If not, I will continue. I can't see very immediate questions on the legal for Bongani. Shall we go into the IT upgrade by Ms. Reyneke? The status implementation of upgrade to IT systems, including RIMS. Colleagues, if we can continue responding in the Q&A, and we will take the Q&A questions after Ms. Reyneke.
Chair, Kristalina is not here.
Oh, do we have anyone else on IT upgrade?
I'm not seeing anyone else from IT here, unless Pratiba would know.
Sure. And Ntokozo, I would not be able to do the IT upgrade discussion. No, it will have to be Kristalina.
Okay. Colleagues, if we can just check in with Ms. Reyneke quickly and advise if there's been an apology or if there's feedback. We can just do the questions for the next few minutes. Pratiba, can you help on that one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Has there been a communication to industry in the process of payment and acquisition of red certificates in the portal? HPA, that's a question for yourselves.
CRO, sorry, can you repeat? I'm just trying
Texting,
to contact Christelna.
Has there been a communication to industry on the process of payment and acquisition of reg certificates in the portal?
You don't understand the question. Has there been an update on
a communication to industry in the way the process of payments and acquisition of reg certificates? It's probably just receipt of the reg certificates.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So no, there hasn't been an official communication. I am busy consolidating an updated variation communication with regards to the system, and I will put in the registration certificate process as well. However, the new registration certificate team has been advised to keep the applicant up to date in terms of the process when they are sending out that initial email where they indicate that your product has been registered. This is your registration number. This is your product name. Next step is the closing sequence. When submitted, inform them at New Reg certification that it has been submitted. Thereafter, the team will then set approval, and at that stage, the notification will be sent out to the applicant. But what I am noticing or picking up is that there seems to be quite a number of applicants who are not getting that notification. So this will then all be in that communication that I'm updating to industry.
Okay, thanks, Pratibha. There's quite a few questions for yourself, Pratibha. Are you ready to take a few more?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Errors, maybe I'll give you 2 or 3. Errors on the registration certificate. How do they communicate and what is SAHPRA's timeline? Then a question on the PSMF. That's not for you. I don't know if the colleagues are here. Does a new applicant who has no registered products and who has not yet been licensed by SAHPRA need to submit the PSMF by 12th November? Next question. Which document can we refer to for the new 87 days timeline? That will be the variations guideline. Next question to you, Pratibha, is the engagement portal challenges. When will change requests via the new process be addressed? I'll pause there.
Okay, all right. Let me take the first one. Errors on registration certificates. So if applicants have found an error on their registration certificate, please email new registration certification. This then is actioned within the week. Note that we do still need to get confirmation from both the CRO and the CEO to sign off before we share that with the applicant. So we usually ask around 5 working days as a turnaround time for that. Then the last question, CRO, with regards to the engagement portal and change requests. I didn't quite understand that. When will they be addressed? Is that...
When will change requests via the new process be addressed? Can I ask Samantha Peters elaborate on your question on the Q&A, please, and I'll come back to that. The question on the PSMF, colleagues, I'm not sure who from the unit is here to address that. Okay, we will get a response to you, Yolanda. I will get the unit manager to respond. Chair, I hear that you're here. Do you want to take over?
So I was supposed to be muted. Let's have the team respond to those questions, and I'll take over. Thank you for stepping in, Tammy.
Okay. I think they've answered the question. The one will be outstanding, and we can continue taking from the top. I've just been taking from the top, hoping the team has answered bottom up.
Okay, so we still continue with the questions.
Yes, yes. We're waiting for Christelna. I'm not sure if she's joining, but we're really at the tail end. We probably have just one matter under any other business on the escalation process that Dr. Khonsi will give feedback, but I think we've concluded our agenda. other
Okay, I
than,
think let's take that item
Christina.
while I navigate these questions, and then it will give us time for Q&A, and then we can just check if Christina has been able to join.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, we mentioned an updated or a communication to industry on escalations within SAHPRA. I'm going to ask Dr. Khonsi to come in because she's managing the document for us.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. This is just to give you an update. So core business essentially will be publishing a communication where we will be sharing with you escalation processes. This will be a formal process which we would like that industry and our stakeholders please utilize. We are finding that the CEO and CRO's emails are being really inundated with a lot of escalation queries. We are aware and we have communicated several times, even in working groups and in the other RTFs, that if you could please, when you do escalate, there are certain processes. So now this documentation is now one that is formalized. We are just tweaking one or few things, and then it will be published and sent out shortly. So please do look out for it. The deadline we're giving ourselves to, if you can start looking out for it, probably on Monday, this upcoming Monday. I think it's the 10th. Yeah, sorry if my dates are not clear, but we are having it signed off, and we will have it published. If you could please follow the processes. There are also there where we state about the specified emails that you are to first start with on your queries before you just escalate it to the CEO and CRO. Thank you, Tammy. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Khonsi. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see, Christina has not been able to join yet. Ntokozo, can you just put up the agenda? Oh, you're here. Okay. All right. Sorry, I couldn't see you here. Ntokozo, can you put up the agenda? Then we'll take Christina's item, please. Over to you, Christina.
Thanks, Chair. So I will ask Ntokozo maybe just to let me share my screen. Right, colleagues that have managed to rejoin, thank you very much. We are not quite sure what happened with our Teams link there, and our IT chaps will have a query that we log with Microsoft. But in the meantime, just thanks for reconnecting then on the new link. Hopefully. Well, I will start from the start, as I think we did unfortunately lose quite a lot of colleagues early on in the ICT update. Let me just put my slides also on slide mode, and hopefully everybody can see this. Right. Right. So just to kind of recap with where we were. What I was indicating is just for the next couple of months and for the next few years, we have got a few items just under general ICT strategy implementation. as well as running in parallel with that the AI technical tools that we are exploring as a regulator from a prototype of proof of concept perspective. A lot of these elements around the AI has very direct linkages to the digital transformation of the organization. Of course, to run AI tools and run AI tools effectively, we need good quality digital data. So what we will be doing then now in Q4, our financial year Q4, which is January, February, March, we'll be starting the process on phase 2 with the digitalization of business processes. And here specifically in this Q4 right up to the end of Q3, quite a lot of activity will be primarily focused on doing the business process mapping and getting design inputs into these online application forms, as well as then the process, the review process, and also just the management of these application types. The processes that we'll be looking at taking on in this second phase would be these ones that I've captured on the slide. So licensing, and then some of the Section 21 and HPA enhancements of the processes that we currently have live, as well as then some of the other smaller processes like your request for GMP certificate, CPP, destruction for Schedule 5, Schedule 6, post-importation testing, APIMF submissions, and so forth. So a lot of work will be done in the pre-investigative steps, making sure that we then adequately have all of the scenarios for each business process properly mapped and defined and reflected on those design specifications. I think then following that, we've got, as you can see, just some work order 3 or phase 3 and phase 4 that will follow. But for us, also key initiatives which we are currently busy with is starting the project for our pharmacovigilance software platform. We'll be onboarding a technical partner to assist us with that. There will be a procurement process that we initiate quite shortly, and we hope that we can also have some kickoff discussions then in terms of the design inputs quite early in the new year. For clinical trials, I think I don't want to preempt the last slide, but for clinical trials as well, we have now concluded the first testing cycle on the design platform with the internal user groups as well as the external user groups that responded to the expression of interest. We've collected some really good feedback. So specifically from our external users, there's been some very helpful input that's been provided. And the colleagues will post the development freeze from the 12th of January, then start with making the necessary changes on the CTF1 process so that we can run another test with our user group. And then if there's no further refinements, the team will then start planning for a pilot where we then take in these applications with the clinical research organizations. Specifically, the first one that we'll do is just for the CTF1. And I think also just with that, the intention is not to onboard legacy data. I mean, we've seen that we have huge data quality issues from legacy data perspective, that requires a lot of input and a lot of data cleansing. That's why starting with a new application process is what we will do for clinical trials. And then the processes of onboarding legacy data for your CTF2, CTF3 applications and so forth, amendments, these will be then in a second phase where we first allow the onboarding of legacy data, but we will be working with the clinical research organizations to facilitate and enable that. I think the other item just to call out is we are also transitioning from kind of at the moment a hybrid hosting strategy where we've got some on-premise applications and some in the cloud. We will be in the next few years transitioning then to a cloud-first strategy with some of the other aspects covered with on-premise backups, certain services that make sense for us to actually run on site. But quite a lot also from a reporting and dashboarding perspective that we'll start seeing being published now from Q4 early in the new year, where we are enabling the dashboarding and reporting for the internal colleagues from a management perspective. And we'll also start exposing some of the high-level summarized dashboard views also for our applicants as it relates to their applications. I think the following slides I've included, but I won't spend too much time going through them one by one. I think we will rather just circulate the slide deck if I can get these slides to move. Sorry, I think this is the items that I spoke to. And I forgot to move the slide, so apologies for that. But these are just some of the information data bytes which we can also then share in the slide deck with all of the colleagues. Just reflecting on some of the top trends that we have gathered from the support desks queries. So at the moment, looking at the top 10 items, and there's a few new items that the support teams have identified. So I think this detail we'll put in the slide deck. So let me just go through this very quickly, because unfortunately we have lost a bit of time. But all of this will then be available in the slide deck. So what we've done is basically just captured, what the issue is. Once we've done the root cause investigation, what the root cause has been determined to be, and then outlining just the corrective action and some of the preventative actions that the support and development teams have put in place. And if there's any further action or follow-on action, that is just captured in this slide deck. So we've done that for all of the items, the top 10, as well as then the new support requests that we've received. So I think just from the support perspective, it does seem that we are starting to pick up a positive trend in terms of the number of new queries that is being received. And I think also our two SAHPRA staff members, Aubrey and Buyiswa, have definitely completed their onboarding and training cycle quite successfully, and they are starting to add some value now in terms of resolving queries and helping us respond to these queries in a timely manner. So the two members, we're very happy to have them both with SAHPRA. They are really starting to get to know our applicants and our processes very well. And the synergies that we have between our internal support team as well as then the service provider support teams seems to be working really well. I think the colleagues also have their weekly sessions where we check in with each other and also just discuss the items on the to-do list, and also where we're still experiencing issues, where we need to do follow-ups, and if there's specific applicant requests that have come through that requires the teams to work together to resolve some of these challenges. These are all then discussed in our weekly check-ins. But I think, yeah, for us, it is good to start seeing now towards the end of October, early on in November, that we are getting some indications of getting to a stage where we have platform stability. There are still a few items, and I think more so really from a process clarification perspective. I heard Pratibha mention earlier as I was joining the call that we'll also share communication just with industry, again, just to indicate what those steps would be to complete some of these requests, specifically, I think, on the registration certificate step, just to make sure that we drive the awareness and the communication around what steps to take on the portal so that you can get your registration certificates. So yeah, just a very short update from my side. As I said, we're at the moment in a development freeze. And that is mostly to allow us then to focus on clearing any of the remaining support issues, and also start planning on what the enhancements needs to be for our Section 21 and our HPA processes. As the development team then starts with development activity again come 12 January. Maybe I can just pause here. Thokoza, you will just remind me to send the slide deck to you so we can share the detail with industry. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Christina. Let me see if there's any questions for you in the Q&A. But there's a few, so let's start. So the first, okay, this one is attended to about the variation code, so that's okay. Then there's a question, is there a mailbox for inspectorate queries or do we need to contact individuals? Next question is, will feedback be provided on 0.5.2 on the cancellation of old medicines? Tammy, just maybe engage with the team. We need to find out who's going to give us feedback on that. We'll come back to the old medicine comment. And then there's a question on, in respect to the timelines for quality and inspectorate type 1Bs, we need to manufacture validation batches and generate stability data. Let me see, so I have to expand this question. We need to manufacture validation batches and generate stability data to submit the type 1Bs. With the timelines given, these batches will effectively need to be written off, which significantly increases the cost. This cost is ultimately passed on to the patient. Can SAHPRA please consider this? Then I'm going to take the last one for now. It says SAHPRA communicated in a webinar that SAHPRA Finance will contact applicants to process portal-related refunds between August and October. Please confirm that companies may now submit refund requests. Thanks. Let's take those questions.
To me, so the ones portal related, I think this last one I picked up on, I can talk to. So I think what I would suggest is if the colleagues have not received communication from our finance team, then yes, please do submit your refund request through the normal channels, just with the normal documentation. I will also just pick this conversation up with the CFO, but I would encourage colleagues then to slowly start submitting their request through to the finance colleagues if you haven't been prompted yet. The other ones, it sounded like more process orientated questions in terms of timelines for 1Bs. Yeah, I don't know if there's somebody from core that maybe just wants to tackle that one.
Okay, we'll have them maybe deal with it. Please respond to the Q&A. And then we'll take two more. Please can clarity be provided on how the inspectorate pre-registration queries are classified, i.e. major, moderate, minor. We received a pre-reg query in May and responded, then received a subsequent unrelated query in September. The site changes queried in query 2 was already in place at the time of query 1. So if someone can look at that, I think it's a very specific one on inspectorate queries. Then another one is, can SAHPRA clarify on the reason for PM pre-reg requesting GMP certificate? Is this now a requirement for both PM and inspectorate? If someone, Silverani, if you can tackle that. May I kindly request that the CM unit manager email address I've query regarding, okay. So Kaiser, if you can address that one, your email is required. And then there's a question around, okay, that's responded to the timelines, that's fine. So if Silverani, can you take the one on the certificates? And if someone can respond to the one on inspectorate pre-reg queries, please.
Okay, so maybe if I could get some further clarity from the person who raised the question, is the GMP certificate requested for the API?
For now, because we haven't unmuted everyone, maybe just assume that it is, and then when we open up, maybe the person can ask again.
Okay, so in the case of API changes, we do check that they have a GMP compliance certificate for the site being applied for. So that would be the reason. And I just wanted to, of course, get clarity if there were cases outside. Thanks. See you.
Okay. And then there's another one for you on biologicals. So where did it go now? Oh, could the RTF agenda include biological unit updates for the future unless PM has aligned process and timelines between the orthodox and biological units? There's currently no coordination or correspondence. I don't know if you want to give some update on biologicals.
So yeah, maybe just in terms of the pre-registration. So of course the biologicals have been regarded as the timeline for new chemical entities for the new registrations. The timelines for the variations will be type 2 at 200 working days, as already outlined by Pratibha earlier on. And the type 1As and 1Bs would follow the same timeline. It's included in the variations guideline update, and there's an annexure in it for biological. So if you visit that, you would be able to see the inputs in terms of the biological timeline. So for variations, this is already included in the variations guideline that is being sent out for comment. I'm not sure if there's any other specific, question relating to that, but the information has been provided. Thanks.
Okay. I'm going to take just one more and then we'll open the floor up for questions. So be ready for that, Ntokozo. So the last one for now is how are clinical ACC meetings, how often are clinical ACC meetings held, and how soon after the ACC meeting can applicants expect feedback? Let me expand it. Currently, we have a pre-reg product that has been awaiting ACC meeting for 6 months with no feedback from SAHPRA. I'm not sure if Mahlodi is here.
It's not here, Chair.
Is Mahlodi here?
No.
Tammy, I'm not sure who can handle this one.
Yeah, I see clinical isn't here. Pratibha, do you want to go ahead? I see Pratibha raised her hand.
Yeah. Thanks, Chair. So we have responded actually on this very same query on email. These aren't committee dates we do not share with applicants. This hasn't changed since the email was shared. The only information that we will share is that these new chemical entities and generics with clinical data are going to or through the ACC process.
I see Lega also made a comment here.
Yeah.
To say we
Thanks.
strive to have them every 6 weeks, but it depends on availability. Can I ask that this person maybe just write to Mahlodi, please? Touching. Yes, please. Okay. Let's open up the meeting to, we've noted we'll continue to respond on the side to these Q&As or these questions here. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask that, firstly, old medicines. Tell me who's going to speak to that between you and Christina?
I think, Christina, do you want to take it? I think we have addressed old medicine.
Yes, sorry, no, I actually have no input on that one. I think the question was when are we going to communicate the process on cancellation of old medicine? So I'm not sure if what's it, when feedback will be provided on the agenda regarding cancellation of old medicines. I'm not sure what the item was that was discussed, what the question was, or what problem we're trying to solve for. Maybe if the colleague can just granulate what it is that we're looking for, I can maybe then try and help. But I think, yeah, I mean, we have a process for cancellation of registrations, but I don't know about cancellation of old medicines. Sorry, I think that I would need to bounce back to core, Tammy.
I'm sorry, Chair. I'm between two devices. So I don't have the question in front of me. I'm still looking at the old questions. Can we get back to that, colleague? Pratibha, you want to go ahead? We did have this on the agenda
Yes,
last
yes, sure. I
quarter.
just, you know, it's been
Go
on
ahead.
for a while. Yes. So this is to speak to COO. It was actually the exercise that we carried out earlier on this year when we asked for applicants to request their cancellations, which also included the old medicines. And these were for those dossiers that were not converted to ECTD. So that's actually closed and should be removed from the agenda.
But in terms of the specific question,
yes, with regards,
I can't find it now.
It's with regards
So
to
it says,
cancellations of the old
yeah,
medicines. Yeah, go for it.
let me just read out the question. It says, will feedback still be provided on point 5.2 on the agenda regarding cancellation of old medicine? So I think the question is what feedback? Because I think from what Pratibha is saying is like feedback has been provided. We had that process that we had that grace period of the cancellation outside of ECTD, and that has been concluded. So I think the feedback is just that we will then close this item and remove it off the agenda as that project has been concluded. Pratibha, I think I understood you right.
Yes, correct. And that process has closed earlier on this year. We had sent out communication to industry with regards to cancellation of these products that were not in ECTD. However, now if applicants are requesting a cancellation, there needs to be a conversion to ECTD, and that will include the old medicine dossiers as well. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We're now going to open it up then for questions. Douglas, if you can assist as we see the hands for you to unmute the various people. The hands are being raised. All right, so we'll take 3 at a time. Fiona, Nicola, and Larita, please.
Great, thanks very much. I did put a question in the Q&A, but I don't think it has been responded to. I just wanted to clarify whether the new timelines, for example, for the type 1B to 87 working days is effective from now or when the new variation guideline kicks in. That's my first question.
Go ahead with your second.
Oh, sorry, thank you. And then I just wanted to confirm that for the type 1B variation where you've got to submit to PEM and Inspectorate, that the combined timeline is 87 working days. And then somebody else has also just tagged onto my question to just confirm that we need to submit to PM first, wait for approval, and then submit to Inspectorate. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
It's
you. Nicola.
Nicola Whelan, yeah. I just wanted to clarify the question that Silverani was answering earlier regarding GMP certification. Okay, so this is a pre-reg application, and the request was actually for all GMP certification related to module 1.7, so for all sites, FPP, FPRC, FPRR, API, etc. So all sites listed. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that clarity, Larita. And then if the team can be prepared to respond to those.
Thank you. My question relates to Inspectorate and PM quality variation. That was submitted together in 2023. We received approval in 2025, but not from Inspectorate. So the question is, what should we do now? Do we resubmit to Inspectorate? Is it routed within SAHPRA to the Inspectorate unit for evaluation of the one aspect in that submission? A second question that I have is also related to Inspectorate. It's similar to one of the questions that is asked in the Q&A, where a new query was raised in the second round, but it should have been raised in the first round, which resulted in the applicant having to pay for the second round. So I have queried it in the last webinar. Inspectorate unit to tell me I could reach out to them. I took the correct action to contact them, but I have not received any response. So it's really been a lot of communication from our end, but we're not getting any response.
Can I ask that you just share that comms with Tammy? She'll make sure that there's a response that comes through. Let's tackle these three sets of questions. Colleagues, Sovarani, type 1Bs, I'm not sure who will handle that on the timelines, and the Inspectorate matter, please.
Thanks. I think they related because the type 1Bs would ideally now become 87 working days. And previously, as we've indicated, if it was 30 working days, it was 30 working days for quality and 30 working days then for Inspectorate. However, having established that the timelines for SAHPRA is much longer, we've indicated that a type B would then be 87 working days for PM, and it will then be 87 working days then for the Inspectorate. So at the moment, we don't have a facility to route the outcomes directly to the Inspectorate for further processing, because the application would have to then be submitted separately. So until such time that we have an integrated system, we will then look into that possibility, but for the moment, we're not able to do that. So we will review it as PM and issue the outcome. It could be possible that the outcome may be negative or may require further information, which means that the applicant would have to respond rather than having to share that incomplete approval or outcome to the Inspectorate, because then it wouldn't add any value. So it is a process that is sequential. So that's in terms of the timelines and also the request to submit both the quality and Inspectorate simultaneously. So the Inspectorate obviously is waiting the outcome of the PM review. So I think that's the first one. I think there was another one relating to the GMP certification by the pre-reg section. So I'm going to ask Mpako to respond to that. Mpako?
Thanks, Silva. Good morning, colleagues. Yeah, so pre-reg quality unit could still request the information based on our assessment. So there's nothing that preclude us from asking those queries. It's based on our review of Module 1. And of course, the inspectorate will go into deeper when they are looking at Module 1.7. So those queries still arise because of the quality assessors still want to verify the sites, either for the local release and also for the APIs and FPP. So there's nothing that preclude those queries being asked in the review of Module 1. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wants to respond?
Yeah, sorry, to me, I just want to come in on that comment that Silverani made on the question for the variations that submitted first to quality and then to inspectorate. And I think that that's also because I recall that there's a query that's been raised on the portal support desk for this as to why we have split the process for quality and inspectorate. And it's exactly to this reason, is because we do not have one team that does the quality and inspectorate jointly. It's two different work teams, two different groups of resources. And therefore, quality that has to deal with the review first and issue an outcome on that needs to receive their variation application, conclude that, issue then an outcome, or whether that's a query or an approval. And thereafter, the necessary information, the approval, the outcome, etc., then needs to be submitted to inspector to conclude their review. And again, it's two different groups of people, and also these things don't happen concurrently. The one team finishes with it, then the second team starts. So each of them have their own timelines with regards to these variations that get submitted. So that's how it gets managed at the moment. I think if this was an old variation that was still submitted pre-portal, that then obviously just highlights the problems that we were trying to solve for. But I would suggest that the colleagues then just follow that up with inspectorate team. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to the next set of questions. We'll take Giabetswe, Yemurai, and Kamantha, please.
Thank you, Dr. Tumelo. My question is with regards to the type 2 one quarterly window submission. So I see in the communication said it's a pilot phase. So I just wanted to ask if this affects like industry. So we are all part of the pilot phase, meaning this is the procedure going forward for everyone, or the like certain applicants that are being used to pilot these processes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, maybe then just respond on that question. So yeah,
No, let's just take the set, please, if you don't mind. Yemurai, please.
Thank you. Good morning. My question is also to do with the type 2 pilot phase, actually. And it's more regarding the ways of working. If applicants can continue to submit type 2 variations outside of the windows that have been communicated, and if SAHPRA has a process for submission of urgent type 2 variations after implementation of the type 2 windows, like after we've exited the pilot.
Okay, let's take the next question from Kamantha.
Hi, everybody. So my question is about the change request process that was recently introduced for the engagement portal, where we could submit requests for corrections. I just want to know if the process is active, because about a week soon after it was introduced, we submitted change requests, but we haven't received any responses, please. If you could respond.
Okay, let's take those 3 questions. I'm not sure who will speak to them. You can start, Christina.
Yeah, sorry to me. So I was going to actually ask Pratibha just to also chime in on that. But the submission window process for the type 2s, it cuts across all applications that gets made for type 2. So it's not limited to a pilot test group. This is, I think, the process as of 1 October. And in terms of urgent type 2, so I mean, type 2 having 120-day workday turnaround time, whatever the new guideline says, those ones need to then be planned for and submitted in those submission windows. Pratibha, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
No, thanks, Christella. So agreed. With the first part of the answer, yes, we launched this in October and it's open to all applicants. It really is an approach that we're using to allow us to plan better and to manage our timelines more efficiently. And then with regards to requests that need to be expedited, I would request that applicants actually submit motivations for the type 2 using the priority review motivation pathway. And committee sits every month. We will review it. And if it is indeed an urgent type 2, we'll consider that and allow it to come through. But obviously, it needs to meet the criteria for priority review, failing which, as Christelna mentions, it would require better planning on the part of the applicant for the submissions of the type 2. But Christelna, I think you have to answer the change request process one from Samantha. Thanks.
Yeah, Pratibha, so I think the process where the colleagues now are currently logging change requests when there is still legacy data that changes that needs to be affected. The current process for that is it gets logged. It comes through to our support desk team to look at. Internally, they would verify some of this information first. As the support desk guys from an ICT perspective, we don't always have access to some of the information in the dossiers and therefore cannot always confirm whether something is correct, and we can then process the change on the data set. So we do refer that through the internal processes for verification, and turnaround time on those change requests at the moment is 5 business days. So this is what we endeavor to maintain. But as I said, it is also because we have to go through a process of verification before we effect the changes. Thanks.
Thanks for those responses. Let's take the next set of 3 questions from Fida, Kumeshni. Umarai is back again. Let's start with Umarai. Is it a follow-up?
Yes, it is a follow-up.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. May we please just have some clarity, because the type 2 windows were communicated as a pilot, which assumes, or at least leads us to assume, that after pilot, it will then go into full implementation phase. That being said, the submission windows have also not been included in the guideline that has been published for comments, again, leading us to believe that it's a pilot phase. So the responses are a bit confusing, because it sounds from the responses as if this is now something that has been implemented for, business as usual, whereas every communication as we have received this far points to it being a pilot.
Okay, let's finish on this matter. Christina, Pratibha, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah. I think, Dr. Jimmy, what we can do is then issue communication that makes it very clear that we have implemented this process. It is for any kind of application that would come through currently. So that was in effective 1 October. And post the pilot, then yes, a update and then the submission windows as per quarters moving forward can be communicated. Pratibha, I don't know if you can assist with further communication just to make sure this is crystal clear to all the colleagues.
Sure.
Yes, I will update that communication, but what is actually occurring to me now is that this has all already been discussed at the RTF working group, and
Indeed.
it doesn't look like the communication has trickled down. Yemirai, yeah, because it is a pilot. We are looking at our processes quite closely in the pilot. We will be sharing that feedback from the pilots with the working group, and this should be trickling down now. So it doesn't look like you are receiving that very important update that's coming from SAHPRA.
Okay, thank you, Pratibha. We'll keep an eye out for that communication. Can you then just please clarify regarding ways of working during the pilot? Like, are we then expected to only submit during the windows during pilot, or can we continue as per usual and submit outside of the windows as well, seeing as this is still a pilot?
So Yemirai, it is only submission during the pilot. That is the whole purpose of the implementation, is that SAHPRA will also take something out of this pilot in terms of supporting us with our planning and our timelines. So submission is only during the pilot, unless it is for a type 2 variation that you have received approval for to submit using the priority review pathway. Submission is only during the pilot. So the next window I've communicated, we're moving the days out to align with the festive season closures and shutdowns from applicants as well as SAHPRA. I think I've mentioned 12th of January for 2 weeks, but I will be sending that updated communication. Thanks.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Okay, good. We'll take then the next set. We'll take these three. We're still okay on time. We've got until the top of the hour. So Frida, Komeshni, and Desmond.
Hello, I just want to find out what is the submission code for cancellation and deregistration of a product. There is nothing in the portal that we can select when we want to deregister medicine.
Okay, thank you. We'll come to that one. Komeshni.
Thanks, Dr. Samete. So my question is related to the submission windows and how would we manage safety label changes, as I think for most companies there is also an internal KPI that needs to be met, which is much shorter than the windows. So just for some consideration when you're looking at the pilot, and is there an opportunity then for those to be considered as priority?
Okay, thank you. Desmond?
Good day, colleagues. I'm unmuted now. Apologies. I just want to find out, we have 3 type 2 variations that has been reduced to a type 1B due to reliance. So, but the reliance codes on the portal is only available in the type 2 route. So that, you know, the BR2 variation code is only available in the type 2 route, and at this stage, we cannot choose a breached review. We can only choose priority, and then it obviously asks for a priority number. But we should be able to submit it outside of the type 2 window, because in essence, it's a type 1B. So the action that was taken, I actually tried to explain this issue or blocker on the portal in the field where the priority number ought to be, and I just said a breach review, it's a type 1B. Was that the correct action? Will SAHPRA accept it like that through the portal? Since it's urgent and we have a sales order, etc. already, that action was taken because it's not supposed to be in a certain window if it's a type 1B.
Okay, thank you. Kristalna and Patiba, I think you still have the floor.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, sorry, Desmond. So if a specific variation code is linked to a type 2, from a financial perspective, that is what in the pricing table. So if these codes are, I want to say, changed on the fly, or on individual requests, it becomes very difficult from an audit perspective to sit with auditors and explain to them why these codes and the prices linked to this and the prices on the sales orders keep dropping and changing. So if there is a scenario where there is a code and based on the risk level and whether or not certain requirements are met or not met, that change request needs to be communicated from the internal colleagues so that we can load then the same code, but then with a different variation type onto the pricing file. So that when you do your application, you may then select, if you're now doing a type 1B submission, that those codes will be available in the drop-down list within the corresponding fee. But unfortunately, with the current process as it is, and the fact that the price master does not allow for second layer of codes, you won't be able to select that. And I think that would definitely then pose a challenge when it comes to technical screening. So we have done this already for a number of the 1A quality variations, where the colleagues have given us the codes that can either be a 1A or a 1B, and we have loaded those so they are available both under 1A and 1B. And if all of the requirements are met from a risk level perspective, then you select and submit it as a 1A. However, if you are aware that you don't meet all the document requirements, you need to submit that as a 1B. So that process already exists. We just need to receive the codes and the information then from the core unit so that the necessary additions can be made on the price master. But the mechanism is there to facilitate it. However, I think the way you've submitted, unfortunately, are that we won't be able to progress.
Sorry, Kristalna, may I speak? I didn't get permission from the chair now.
And before maybe you come in, Desmond, Kristalna, I'm not sure if you also addressed what Kumeshni and the person before also raised. Can I just double check that, please? If you did, that's okay.
Sorry, if they can maybe just ask the question again. I might have.
It was also linked to the pilot. I see it looks like Suraya wants to step in and assist. And Pratibha, then we'll come back to Desmond and Shemaine.
Thank you, Chair. So I just wanted to clarify that we have created codes on the pricing sheet for Kristalna and the portal team for each and every type of variation that there is. So if it's not correctly reflected, it's probably you've chosen the wrong code. You need to choose the 1B code for that one. So you can send us an email for these individual issues, and we will try and guide you on which codes to use, but we have created codes for all the reliance applications associated with the correct types. And like I think Kristalna has already said, we will consider if you are having an issue with which code to select, you can let us know on the post-reg quality variations email address. Thanks.
Thank you, Pratibha and Kristalna. My issue isn't really on the pricing. At the end of the day, the pricing on the sales order was correct, and the correct action was taken, and the correct variation code was applied to the portal. The issue is that it's in essence a type 1B when you use Reliance, the BR2 code. So that should actually be available in the variation code drop-down list in a type 1B quality section. What's happening now is the code is only available in when you choose the type 2 route, and then you need to enter a priority number, whereas if it was in the type 1B route, because it is a type 1B due to reliance, then you would be able to select the bridge review process. So now, since it's going to the wrong route, and I think it has something to do with the variable in the brackets, it says type 2, but yet I get a type 1B invoice. If that bracket can maybe change to 1B, I think it's a coding miscommunication, and that's why I'm raising it. Then it will be in the type 1B route, and you'll be able to select a bridge review, obviously with the collaborative pathway with EU reliance. So at this stage, it's carrying on. We can continue. It's just the priority number isn't applicable, but it's forcing us to put one in.
Yeah, I think the point is noted. Colleagues, just take note of this point, and then let's see how to address it. I just want to give the other people a chance, Desmond, to considering we're left with a few minutes. Pratibha, you wanted to comment, and then we'll take Charmaine and Frida.
Yeah, sure. I actually, first one was Frida's code for cancellation. Frida, you were so soft. I couldn't hear you, but I think you said something about canceling or withdrawing an application pre-reg, and you said that you couldn't proceed via the portal. I have actually been receiving applications for withdrawal via the portal, so I'd actually like to see which one you're experiencing an issue with. Will you please email me, and then we'll just investigate it on our end. But we have been receiving pre-reg withdrawals via the portal. So that's the first one. Commissioner, with regards to the type 2, did you say urgent safety label updates that need to go in linked to a type 2? Again, this would be something that we'd consider via the priority review pathway. Can you please apply using that pathway, or else it will have to be submission via the pilot window for type 2? And then Desmond, I think that has been answered. I actually know what you're talking about with regards to the BR2, and Christelna's on it as well. It's with regards to the fees that are popping out, and the fact that the BR2 is kicking out as a 2 and not a 1B. So yeah, Christelna's looking at that as we speak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, as I said, Charmaine, Frida, and Dylan.
Hi, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm not sure if I've missed the response, but could you please just confirm whether the 87 working days will only come into effect in 2026 following the implementation of the new variation guidelines, or are they already effective? That's my first question. And my second question is, I don't know if I know previously you said there's nobody from clinical on the line, but how can we go about, we still have clinical outstanding issues since 2021, and we do not get any responses on those. That's my two questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity again. I just want to rectify my question about deregistration. It's actually not withdrawal from pre-reg, it's the deregistration of products. There's no code to submit a baseline and the deregistration sequence of a product of post-registration.
All right, that's noted, that clarity. Dylan?
Thank you, Chair. Just with regards to the process around the type 2 pilot, if we've raised a type 2 sales order now and we've got the sequence ready to submit, having to wait for the January window means that we won't be able to submit anything sequentially thereafter. So it prevents us from submitting type A's, type B's, and or responses or renewals until that type 2 has gone in. So just again, a consideration for your windows and how we actually function once we've got a type 2 queued up in the portal already. Thank you.
Okay. Suraya, Pratibha, Kristalna, you guys gonna tag team again?
Yeah, sure to me. So I think on this one, I'll just ask Pratibha maybe to reflect, but I'm somewhat confused, Dylan. Are you saying these are related changes?
So what I'm saying is I've got a type 2 sales order that's already
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah.
If I have a type A change, a type B change, or any response that I'd like to submit after this type 2, obviously they need to go into DocuBridge sequentially. I cannot submit until that type 2 has gone in the window. So for the next 3 months, I can't submit until the type 2 has gone in, and then sequentially everything else can follow.
But is this because you've created that transaction on your side? Because I mean, so I mean, with that, that's a little bit of out of our control. And I think from a planning perspective, these are some of the things maybe just practically that everybody needs to just think through in terms of how they actually manage their variation submissions. We could not necessarily tell you, what sequence number to allocate to what variation. So from our perspective, we just have 4 type 2A submission windows. So if you want to submit a type 2 variation, then those are the periods that you could do that within. If you have other changes that's not related, we would, I mean, obviously you would submit them as and when. But as to,
response, if we have to
Sorry?
respond in and around a type 2 that we don't have visibility of.
But if you need to respond to a type 2.
No, I'm saying a response in general, right? If once my type 2 sales order is created, if I get a query on anything else, I'm not able to respond until that type 2 has gone in.
When you say gone in, I'm sorry, I'm not following you.
Confirmed on the FTP, loaded onto the FTP for DocuBridge import.
So have you already created this sequence?
So it's a hypothetical question, right? If I haven't submitted an October window,
it's
then the type
difficult
2
for me
can't
to
go
talk.
in.
Yeah, it's just difficult for me to talk to a hypothetical scenario because I in my mind, I can't see that happening actually practically. So I think maybe when you encounter that particular challenge, won't you then just connect with us so that we can go through that? But I would imagine that your other sequences sequentially, as the sequence numbers get created, you're going to submit those. You wouldn't necessarily go and create a sequence for something that you're not ready to submit.
No. So I think if you could then reach out to the team, as Kristalna says, that would be helpful. I think a lot can be clarified on a one-on-one discussion, Dylan. Good. Suraya?
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to clarify the question that was asked about implementation of the revised timelines. This will be effective from the date of implementation of the new guideline because these are published in the guideline which is out for comment. So it will be implemented from the 1st of April 2026. Thanks.
Thanks. Tammy?
Thanks. Just to answer the applicant that asked about clinical, I wasn't sure if it was a pre-reg or a post-reg. Pre-reg, the stats were actually shown, but if it is post-reg, Luleka's on the line, but otherwise I'd like to assist, and if they can just forward that query to me. There was another applicant that raised an inspectorate matter that was raised in August. I've asked the inspectorate to address. And I think much earlier, somebody had asked about the email addresses to query with the inspectorate. It's not very clear.
Sorry, Tammy, may I interrupt you if you don't mind? Do you mind sharing? I just need to take a call that I must make before 12, please. Thank you.
I'll continue. And yes, the applicant that mentioned the inspectorate queries, when I do look at our key contacts, I see we only have Mr. Mochitella's details. So rightfully pointed, I think that needs to be updated. Mr. Mochitella did present in the last quarter a list of email addresses where queries can be routed, but I think we should update it on our key contacts. So some if we can take that forward so there is clarity on where applicants can route queries. Nokutula, please go ahead. Nokutula, can you hear me? Your hand's up. Okay. Colleagues, I think we have time for one more question if there is any.
Okay. Hi, Tammy.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can I go
Yes.
ahead?
Yes, please go ahead.
You can mute yourself. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Please go ahead, Nokutula.
Okay, thank you. My question is around the timelines that have been extended for the variations. Since the document is still out for comment, it does sound like it is not open for discussion, regardless of the comments that we would probably make, perhaps with objecting to the timelines. But I hear that the implementation of these timelines is going ahead regardless. I'm not too sure if I'm interpreting that correctly or still open. It could still reduce following the comments that would have come from the industry. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We'll answer that just now. Pratibha will take that response. Ntokozo, we would schedule to complete at 12 o'clock today. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
But,
we have.
with the extension of the technical issues, I extended it to 12:30. So, but yeah, I think it's scheduled to end the 12 originally.
At 12, please.
Yeah.
And I think my team and myself have other meetings at 12 because we didn't factor in the additional 30 minutes. So we'll answer Nokutula via Pratibha. Let's take Amanda and then Manoka as final questions.
Thank you, Tammy. My question is around A codes, inspectorate variations. We used to only pay 850 for those, but the portal is now charging 3.5. I just wanted to know if there was a change in the pricing or is it like a calculation mismatch in the portal? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Manoka? Manoka Maharaj, you can go ahead, unmute.
Hi, Tammy. Thank you very much. My question is more of an admin one. Who do we reach out to when we need our contact person for the company or for the regulatory to be updated? We find that our communication still gets sent to a colleague who has long ago left the company, and we've reached out a few times to get this amended, but we haven't been successful. There have been a few times where we've missed communication because of this.
Okay, thanks. Pratibha, can you help with the questions, with the answers, please?
Sure. If I do recall them, I think the first one was with regards to the 87 working days and if we will consider the reduction. Look, comments are out, or the guidelines are out for comment, and applicants, please make your comments. 87 working days is currently practical for us at SAHPRA based on our backlog and what we are seeing as a suitable timeline for us to meet our operational outputs and improve on our operational efficiencies. However, please make your comments. We will look at all of them and take them into consideration. If it means a reduction in timeline, once we are able to satisfy our output demands, then for sure, timelines will be reduced. So that's the first one. I can't actually remember the second one. What was the second query?
It was the cost, the inspectorate cost from 850 to 4,500. I think it was Amanda.
Inspectorate is 850, Amanda. What is the exact code that you
So
are
the
querying?
code is 8.5. It's to amend the name of a manufacturing site. So it's
Yes.
showing as 3.5, the
No.
sales order, but
Okay.
previously it used to be 850. Yeah.
Now, Amanda, it is still 850 rands. Can you please raise a query with portal.data@sahpra.org.za, and that will then be rectified to assist with your query. And the third one was that Manoka.
Yes,
with
that's
regards
right.
to, so Manoka, when you do share your emails, it goes industry-wide, well, organization-wide at SAHPRA. So I'm just wondering who hasn't updated their communication sheet with regards to your company changes. Can you please share that again? So obviously, Christella, that might be something we need to also look at, will be the electronic updates and that it spreads across the different units, because it comes to me currently and I share it, but it looks like some of the units are not updating the directory for the applicants. But we'll look at that again, Manoka. Please email me.
Okay. Thanks for answering, Pratibha.